The kids use them. So if you go to Menti, we didn't find a QR code, so we're stuck with using the old-fashioned way. So menti.com, and then they'll ask you for a number, and the number's right there, 59968574. It's not a Kahoot. It's just we're going to do this a little bit differently. Can the sisters see at the end over there? Do I need to say it again? You guys good? Okay. طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدي رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام. Oh, there you go. So our wizard figured out a awesome. So I'm going to come back to this slide. I'm going to actually first go through some slides that have questions on them. What do you get when you put the slide? Do you get you get this one on your phone? You get this, right? Perfect. So good. Just to make this session a little bit more interactive, inshallah, for you, and hopefully not as boring as me just talking the whole time. I'll still be talking most of the time, but maybe a little bit less of that and more interaction. So we're going to talk about making Ramadan, or this Ramadan, the best ever. And for the rest of my life and yours, if you're stuck here with me, I will say the same thing every year. I'll come back and tell you the same thing. Try to make this Ramadan the best one. Right? And you'll try, if you understand the idea behind it, then you'll always do that. Because you never know when Ramadan is going to be the last one. You don't know. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you long lives with afiyah, say ameen. But you don't know. You don't know if this may be your last Ramadan. So you make it the best one you can possibly make it. You put your heart into Ramadan. This is where you come in enthusiastic, optimistic, and you just try your best to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make this Ramadan valuable for yourself. And if you do that every year, every Ramadan, inshallah, will be unique in a different way. Like, you'll look back later on in life and say, oh, that one was so special and that one was special. But you'll always find a way to make Ramadan unique for yourself. And I want to make sure that we, today, in this session, to kind of build y'all up and fill you with enthusiasm and optimism in moving towards the month. We have a lot of reasons to do it. I don't want to be cliche, but after the 4 months that we've witnessed, what we've witnessed happening to our brothers and sisters in the Holy Land, and fi Gaza specifically, then we have to make Ramadan a turning point for us. We have to make sure that this Ramadan is going to be the Ramadan that will be the difference for us as individuals in our lives, and that we are willing to kind of take that next step moving forward. And I really think that this is what you're supposed to do with every Ramadan. Sometimes you don't have a clear reason. There's always a good reason. Just wanting to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wanting to be that person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to grant Jannat al-Firdaus to, or grant Itq min al-Nar to, or forgive all their sins. That's enough. But sometimes if you need a little bit of an extra motive or extra motivation, well, this year you have it. I can't imagine of anything that could be remotely considered as more extra motivation than what's happening today fi Gaza, Palestine. And yes, Ramadan and everything that you do in it, and the focus that you have on rituals and the focus that you have on worship and closeness in your heart and mind, it will be focused that this is how I'm changing my life, Ya Rab, so that I can be better. So I can be better for them. I can be better for the people who are suffering. Not just people in Gaza, Palestine, but everywhere in the world. Whether the Muslims or even non-Muslims, it doesn't make a difference. That should be the umbrella intention. But we have a very, very strong one today. We have a very strong reason for all of us to take Ramadan seriously and allow it to do for us what it did for the Sahaba, what it did for the Prophet ﷺ, the people who actually took it seriously in their lives. So I'm going to talk about a few points, but let's start by going through the first question. Does it work? Okay. So what is getting in the way of making this Ramadan the best you've ever had? All right? So that's the question I want you to answer. It's a word cloud, so you should be able to just put in words. What is getting in the way? Like if you were to say that, yeah, nice, Sheikh, I like it, I ain't doing it. Why? Right? If you're like, I know, I'm just attending this halaqah because my friend brought me here. I don't really want to do anything. But entertain it. Entertain me and just give and anonymous. So just put in whatever you actually think. Let us kind of go through some of it. Now, the more the same words are used, the more it'll stand out. So try to use words that you see up there that are similar to you, so that those words get bigger, so you kind of see what exactly is the obstacles that people have, what the obstacles are that people have in terms of them making this Ramadan the best Ramadan ever, and why they wouldn't do it if they didn't do it. So you can see a lot of bad things. So work seems to be a big one in school. Work in school. And I like laziness, both in Arabic and in both kasal and Arabic and English, mashallah, multilingual laziness. It's on, it's on multiple. So school and college seems to be bulking. That's interesting. Bulking. All right, fair enough. High school. So school, college, and high school, and all of that is being kind of, and then we have a lot of courses. So calculus, I'm seeing. So courses that are. All right. What else do we have here? So work and school. Work, school. Very good. What else do we have? Lack of strong will. Social media seems to be a problem in general. Social media. Yeah. Faith. Okay. Lacking strong will. Loneliness. All right. Exams. Someone's honest and said nothing. Good. Then you'll be here, inshallah, every night for the next 30 nights, inshallah, with us. Food. I don't know how food does it, but food. Food. The nafs. Very good. Time. So if you put all these together, I think really what people feel that they're holding them back is the lack of a good routine. Lack of good routine, whether it's school or it's work or it's the lack of sleep or it's the ability to manage that with your time or what else do we have there? Okay, or your courses or your exams. I think that's a big one. So my advice to you would be to actually sit down and write a schedule for yourself for 3 days. It's not that hard. You can get a couple of pages, just write down the days. Ramadan starts Monday, and write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and just go through what does your schedule look like? Like what is your class schedule like? What is your work schedule like? How are you going to fit in as much worship as possible within the schedule that you have? Right? Depending on what you do, whether you work or you go to school or if you're a mother at home, sit down and write down the schedule. I used to do this all the time. I only stopped a couple of years ago because my schedule became pretty much the same. This is how it's going to be. There's really no playing around with it. Be up for suhoor, here for fajr, give the dars, do the wird, go work, come back, try to steal an hour of sleep if my kids don't jump on my head, and then we break our futur, come here, give the dars, do the tarawih, and then try to get out of here as quickly as possible after witr to go get some sleep, and it's just rinse and repeat for 30 days straight. And if you take the last couple of days, I usually take the last week off or 10 days off if I am capable of booking them off, and then kind of close down a bit so you can get more acts of worship in the midst of it, to coming for asr and doing stuff. So look into your schedule and start writing things down, right? Another theme that I'm seeing here is like laziness, loneliness. So this is, to me, when you say laziness or loneliness, it's lack of companionship, lack of good companionship. If you don't have good companionship in Ramadan, it's hard. So you want to make sure you have good companionship. You want good suhbah. You want people with you who will strengthen you, who will encourage you. If you lay back, if you sit back, if you don't do it, if you're feeling tired, you don't want to go that day, they'll call you up and they'll take you with them. And they'll make sure. Because I saw also commuting. I think there was someone who said commute here, if I'm not mistaken. I saw the word, there it is, commute. Right? So commuting is hard. So commuting, laziness, and loneliness, to me, it's all pretty much the same thing. It's lack of good companionship. So look around. You have a week. Figure out who your companions are going to be. The zumrah, the people that you're going to spend this Ramadan with, those who will help you stick to that high standard of acts of worship that you want to do. So look into that. That's an important piece. And if you can't find them, reach out to people. Let's see if we can connect you. We have, alhamdulillah, a nice network here at this center. And a lot of the younger age groups, whether shabab or sabaya, men or women, they do connect with each other, they network with each other, and they have ways to kind of keep them, help them in terms of volunteering, being here, breaking your futur, being here a part of last nights and tahajjud and suhoor and all that stuff. So get involved so that you have some companions and make some friends. And inshallah, the people who are here will be more welcoming to those who are not used to coming here and help them build friendships and companionship so they can actually be more supported when they come here. So long working hours and balanced work and night. Yeah, so that requires just a good schedule. It's okay if you're planning out Ramadan and there's going to be a few nights a week where you can't make it because of how difficult your schedule looks like. But please, challenge yourself a little bit in Ramadan. Challenge yourself. It's okay. Push your limits a little bit in Ramadan. You'll be surprised what you can put up with. You'll be surprised how you can survive on less maybe hours of sleep than you think. You're going to be surviving without food and drink for the majority of the day. There's a lot that you can put up with. So challenge yourself a little bit. Don't push yourself to the point where you break, but challenge yourself a little bit and push those limits as much as possible. And schedule things. Schedule things. Write down what makes sense to you in terms of when you wake up and when you go to sleep. Look at it and work something out for yourself so that you optimize and capitalize on this timing to the best of your ability, inshallah ta'ala. Sleep. Don't complain to me about sleep. Sleep in Ramadan is hard. Sleep, you get, I usually end up with 4 or 5 hours at night, and then I try to steal an hour during the day, and then I wait until Saturday comes, and I give the dars, and I go home, and you ever see someone just jump into bed? That's me. I go right into bed on Sunday morning. It's more difficult, I think, for mothers. I honestly think it's more difficult for mothers. So may Allah make it easy for them, because there's no Saturday or Sunday from taking care of the gremlins that they have produced to this world. So they have to continue to take care of them all the time. So it's more difficult, but I think there's still ways for you to figure out how to stay connected, even if you're not coming to the masjid. And this goes like for a lot of mothers who can't come every night. That's fine. You can attend things from home. And you can stay connected to what's happening in the community at home. And I still allow for the fatwa of following remotely within the city for mothers who cannot make it, or for elderly people who are sick, especially if they don't have the capacity to stand and read the Quran in Taraweeh on their own, or they can't read properly, or it's just not feasible. They can still use that for themselves. Here within the city, I think it's a very reasonable option to be a part of the congregation, even if you can't be here physically. So just look at that schedule and figure out what works best for you, so that you optimize your use of time within Ramadan. What else do I have here? Very simple. Yeah, babies. See, baby. So we have babies here. So what's getting in the way? Quran. I don't know how the Quran gets in the way, but fair enough. Big Mac. All right. This is your McDonald's. Your McDonald's requirements is causing you not to be able to do what you want to do. All right. Jazakumullah khair for sharing that. This is just helpful, inshallah, for us to chat about things. And I think I covered the bigger words here. Forgive me if anything was pointed out there that I didn't pick up on. All right, the one after. So what are the reasons for which you want to make this Ramadan a turning point in your life? And just say, again, it's a word cloud. So put whatever you want. So if you wanted to, I'm assuming that inshallah you're semi-convinced that you want to make this Ramadan special, a turning point for yourself. Why would you do it? Just put out there, why would you do it? If you did it, why would you do it? What would be the main reason for yourself? And don't feel bad about anything that you put in. Any word that you come up with is fine by me. It doesn't matter. This is just to kind of get a better sense of repentance. Beautiful. Yes, tawbah. We'll talk about that inshallah today for sure. Tawbah. Tawbah is the most. This is my motivation every year. This tawbah. It's repenting. It's repenting from the shortcomings and from the mistakes and from the sins and the lack of commitment and lack of clarity and lack of I repent from that every year, and I go back and say this year will be better. And repentance is a very strong motivation. Use that because it really does help. So I'll say Jannah. Yes, beautiful. Jazakumullah khair. Jannah. What bigger promise is there in Ramadan than the promise of Jannat al-Na'im that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offers us throughout this month? So Jannah. And I'll narrate for you a few hadith today, inshallah, that will help with understanding that. The Prophet ﷺ says this hadith, there's a lot of hadith about Ramadan that lack authenticity. And they're really long too. But one of my teachers went through all of them and pulled out the phrases that are authentic, the actual phrases that are acceptable amongst these ahadith, that there's an abundance of ahadith that talk about the lack of authenticity. Rahmatullah Shaykh Nuruddin al-Itr, he actually went down and pulled out certain phrases, and I memorized those phrases from him, and I still know them. He did write a book that have them in them, but I don't have the book with me here. I don't think it's published outside of Syria, unfortunately. But one of the hadith is the Prophet ﷺ says, إِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ لَتَتَزَيَّنُ مِنَ الْحَوْلِ إِلَى الْحَوْلِ لِرَمَضَانِ. That the Jannah will beautify itself from one year to the other for Ramadan. تقول إذا دخل رمضان. It says when Ramadan enters, يا رب اجعل لي من عبادك سكانا. Make sure, Ya Rab, that amongst your servants are going to be people who are going to be living in me, being a part of what I am. And he would comment on this hadith, my teacher would comment, he would say that this is not just for akhirah. And I thought that was like brilliant. It wasn't just for akhirah. Meaning the comment that the Jannah is making is actually of dunya. That you're going to find yourself in Ramadan, and this is true, Allahu A'lam, at least I find it to be the case, that you are in a position in Ramadan, in an environment of such serenity and tranquility and beauty, that it's the closest thing that any of us will ever identify as being Jannah. Is when you're, those nights of Ramadan, when when your heart is in a state of closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's just Ramadan is Ramadan. And then you find that, and I think that when his comment on the hadith was that the Jannah, when it says that, it's not just talking about the day of after the day of judgment. It's talking about even dunya, meaning finding that beauty. Because really, Jannah in this world is not the excessive wealth and travel and all of the leisures of this world, as fun as they can be, but it's really that tranquility and that peace that you'll find on the inside that is unmeasurable, that is priceless. It's just priceless. Discipline. Self-discipline, I like that. Just learning to discipline yourself. That's a good. So you have a lot of examples here. Qurb min Allah in the Arabic, yes, for sure. It could be the last one. Very good. So we have a lot of stuff here, mashallah. No, a smart imam would be able to categorize them all quickly, but I'm not one of those people. So Ghazda's here a few times in different words. Jazakallah khair. Tawbah. Being the best person I can be. Yes. Reset. I like that. Yeah, a reset. That's what Ramadan is. Ramadan is a reset. Ramadan is like that button. You get this opportunity just to say, all right, I need to go. Let's just forget about what's happened over the last year, and let's just try again. Let's try again. This year wasn't great. Let's try again. And that's exactly what Ramadan offers. It offers this opportunity for your slate to be wiped clean and for you to start over. So that reset button is exactly what I think you should use Ramadan for. Finding peace and clarity. Beautiful. Closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a couple of times in different languages. Finding forgiveness. Yes, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of us, inshallah ta'ala. Change the world. Yes, change the world. That's what I think is Ramadan is for. Ramadan is the month that we have in our life that truly changed our world, at least as Muslims. If you just count the number of futuhat, meaning of extremely significant, crucial moments in the history of Muslims. If you just follow Badr, and you follow Fatah Makkah, and you follow Ain Jalut, and you follow Hittin, just follow these moments that the Muslims were in probably the darkest hours, and how they found their way out. And it always happened, like a lot of them happened in Ramadan. I won't say always, so that I'm not, but a lot of them happened within the month of Ramadan. And Ramadan's always been that for us. It's been that safe haven. We turn back to Ramadan. We use it to strengthen our hearts and to bring ourselves closer to Allah and to turn things around personally and build that intention of what we want to do with our lives. So what would you need to happen for this Ramadan to be your best ever on your part? On your part. On your part. Don't give me something that you can't control. Don't say, oh, a better imam. Yes, you could. If you had a better imam, you would do a better Ramadan. And you're right. You can't change that, unfortunately, at least not yet. A bigger masjid, or give me something that, there's a lot that we can do that's better, that would have made your Ramadan better. But on your own part, what that we would need? Consistency. Yes. See, better world. You can't change that. Don't give me that. Give me what you can do. Give me something that you can do. Time management, for sure. Discipline, consistency. I don't know what a Jesus Chrysler is, but I'm not sure what that is, but I'll take it. Understanding of the Quran, very good. So the stuff that you put up here, the stuff that are put up here, are things that, if this is what came to mind when I asked you, what is it that you would need to happen for this Ramadan to be your best ever, and you thought of something that is personal, meaning something you could do. You put it up there, think about that. What's holding you back? What's causing you not to be able to do this? Like, what exactly is it that is causing you not to be able to use this tool or to achieve this goal? Because we all have different life experiences, and we all internalize problems, good habits, bad habits, experiences differently. We don't internalize them the same way. Sometimes people are different. So sometimes something will happen, it'll just turn you off. It'll make you upset. It'll ruin your day. That same thing may happen to me on a daily basis and not bother me at all. It's nothing to do with good or bad. It just has to do with habits. Just issues of habit, who we are as people and what experiences happen to us in our lives and how we understand our perspective and attitude of the and worldview in general. So think of the things that would make a difference to you, that may not necessarily make a difference to everyone else. So we have here, so dedication. I'm not sure if you understood the question. But that's okay. Being less fat. All right. Thank you. That was, I think, directed towards me. What else do we have here? Sincerity, for sure. understanding the Quran, for sure. So these things that you're putting up here, Quran journaling, do them. You want to you feel like what would help you make this Ramadan the best ever for you is understanding the Quran, then do that. Then invest your time in attending things where you're learning, understanding more of the Quran. Don't break off, don't lose Taraweeh or anything. No, stick to all the stuff that we do, the fasting, the Taraweeh, that stuff. But then add to your schedule something that allows you to understand it better. Whether it's something that you attend daily. I do a tafsir before Taraweeh every single night. If you don't want to listen to that, there's a lot of stuff. Like online, the Muslim Ummah becomes very active in terms of programming. The Imams all have like their programs that they run in Ramadan. A lot of them are Quran directed. So you can find a lot of people who are explaining. So learn. If that's going to make a difference for you, then do that. If learning will help you. Scheduling. Like I said, if that's what needs to happen, then do that now. You have a week. Sit down, write down, get a whiteboard at your house, write down the days. Monday, March 11th, and put down each and every day afterwards and look at your schedule and what you need. Go to your calendar and figure out how you're going to work around things. If you have deadlines, if you have exams, if you have courses that you want to hold on to, figure out their timings and how you're going to use the rest of the time in a productive manner, what you're going to be involved in. It's not that difficult. It takes a little bit of work, but it's actually quite helpful. When you say strong will, for sure, you need strong will to do things, but what you're going to go buy like a couple of kilos of strong will from where are you going to buy it? Like it's not something you can obtain from outside. A strong will is something that you have to come to the conclusion of on your own, and that's where companionship and being in the right environment. If you're in a masjid or you go to the same place every day and you're kind of using that energy to keep moving forward, it helps because we don't always have strong will for sure. All right. I don't think everyone got the question fully, but I think we have. A light iftar, yes. Yes, a light iftar. Yes, eat less at iftar, and you'll have a better Ramadan. 100%, hands down. I guarantee it. Try it once. Don't have a full meal and come for Salat al-Tarawih. And then try have a full meal and come for Salat al-Tarawih. And the difference, wallahi, you enjoy the qira'ah more. You'll think that the voice of the person that's reading is worse when your stomach is full. Because it's just, you can't enjoy it. You're too tired. You're too heavy. You want to sleep. We're mammals. When we eat, we sleep. That's how our bodies work. The post-lunch yawns. If you work and you have a nice lunch, you're dozy for an hour because what your body is like is the moment you eat, you need to lie down for a bit and just rest. So if you have your futur and you really pack that, you pack it down, then you're going to come here and it's going to be very difficult for you. You're not going to enjoy it. So eat less, come khafif, light iftar, come early, attend the pre-Isha. Even if you don't do it here, if you're closer to another masjid, honestly, I tell people, attend whatever the masjid that's closest to you is. The one that you're the most likely to stick to for the 30 days, because it's about consistency. It's about being there every day. So look around, where's the closest masjid, and then go and attend whatever it is that they're doing there, and just stick to it for the 30 days so that you get the consistency of doing that. And eat light and go so you can actually enjoy your iftar, and eat after Taraweeh and sleep. All right. So I point out here, what's the most important goal to achieve out of the following in Ramadan for you? And I put a couple of stuff up here. So maybe give me some, rank them for me. So I put finding khushu', or presence with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I put up connect with the Quran, recite, understand, memorize whatever you want, whatever matters to you. Become a regular at the masjid. Become more involved with your community. Get your deen in affairs, get your deen affairs in order. If your deen is not doing well, fix up your deen and get it in order. Strengthening what you care about the ummah. I want to get rid of bad habits. I want to improve my prayers, meaning commitment versus quality. So rank them for me if you can, and let's see what we can look at here. This helps me too, because when I'm running all these programming in Ramadan, it's helpful for me to know what exactly the people that I'm dealing with or working with, what is it that they're looking for, so that we can make sure that we, I want to get rid of bad habits. Oof. Yes, please fall down a little bit lower, because I can't rid you of bad habits. Ramadan can, I can't. Ramadan is designed to rid you of bad habits. Ramadan is designed to rid people of bad habits. In the Tazkiyah sessions that I run, I teach this quite a lot. It's a large adjustment. Ramadan is a large adjustment. There are small adjustments, there are large adjustments. Small adjustments is an addition of a 10-minute activity to your day, or a removal of 10 minutes of activity of your day. A large adjustment is something that yanks your schedule, your routine completely, it throws it off its balance altogether, which is what Ramadan does. Ramadan completely ruins whatever schedule you had throughout the year. You cannot keep up with, you can't continue to live the way you were before Ramadan. Ramadan is too hectic because you have to wake up for suhoor every day. You have to have your suhoor, you have to go for Fajr, inshallah, in Jama'ah, or pray Fajr and do the wird, so you don't fall asleep immediately after Fajr, and then you're hungry all day long, so there's no point in doing a lot of stuff during the day. What are you going to do? You go out with people. Most of our activities as human beings are based on food or something to drink. Like without those two things, our socializations aren't that fun. And you're tired anyways. You're not at your best because of the fasting, so you don't do as much socializing during the day. And then once Maghrib happens, it's iftar, it's Maghrib, and then immediately you have Isha almost right after that, and then you have Tarawih. So the night's very busy, and then you're tired at the end of it, and you have to do that again. So this schedule is very rigid. You don't have a lot of flexibility within it. So it's a large adjustment. Large adjustments are very, very good at getting rid of bad habits. But this fell down a bit. Oh, no, still third. So number one is right now is connect with the Quran. Beautiful. Connect with the Quran. I could not agree more. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. Ramadan is Ramadan because of the Quran. So it's actually not the other way around. It is Ramadan because of the Quran. Meaning Ramadan is a month of beauty, of siyam, and of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessing because the Quran was revealed in it. That's where it gets its merit. Ramadan gets its status and its ranking from the Quran. The Quran is so valuable to Allah, so valuable to us, that the month that it was revealed in is going to be the month of barakah, and the night it was revealed in will be the night of qadr, the night of status. That's the importance of this book. So for sure, you want to connect with the Quran. So attend a Tarawih that has a khitmah, and listen to the whole thing. Open the Mus'haf and let the Imams recite and go through it. And if you're holding a Mus'haf, you can't read Arabic, make sure the translation is right there beside you so you can read the translation as well. Attend sessions that are focused on explaining the Quran. Take for yourself a specific amount that you recite every day personally, based on your capacity. If you're a hafiz, do more than a juz' a day. If you're someone who can barely read Arabic, take a few lines every day and just recite the Quran and then internalize what it means. Memorize. Use Ramadan to memorize the Quran. We were taught when I was a kid, memorizing the Quran. Ramadan was always our most productive month of hifz, by far. The most productive, because when you don't have food in you, your brain works much better. Yeah, to a certain degree, and then right before Maghrib, it kind of just, it stops. But before that, you actually have a capacity to memorize. So in Ramadan, do some memorization, whether it's after Fajr or right after Asr, like when you're done your work, use it for that. So find khushu' and presence. Yes, Ramadan is very good for that purpose, for sure. He says, alayhi salatu wasalam, إذا كان أول ليلة من رمضان فتحت أبواب الجنة فلم يغلق منها باب وغلقت أبواب النار فلم يفتح منها باب. So once the first night of Ramadan occurs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the gates of heaven and no gate will be closed. And He closes the gates of Jahannam and no gate will be left open. Which is why we experience what we experience throughout this month. There's just something different about it, and that's what's different about it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the gates of heaven, closes the gates of Jahannam. وَصُفِّدَتْ مَرَادَةُ الشَّيَاطِينَ. And all of the shayateen, at least the bigger ones, are all chained and pulled back to Jahannam. So they don't have that waswasa ability anymore. So you're living, it's like a little bit of truce. It's a time of peace. Your enemy, the one that keeps on giving you these ideas and waswasa, is not there. The gates of Jahannam are closed. The gates of Jannah are now open. You can't smell it, but your heart can feel it. You can't smell it, but your sight, your nafs is capable, your ruh is able to sense that difference. And this is what ثم ينادي مناد, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has someone call, and يا باغي الخير أقبل ويا باغي الشر أقصر. And then someone calls, oh, the one who wants khair, the person who's looking for khair, come أقبل, come closer. وباغي الشر, the one who wants shar, أقصر, stay back, stay behind. There's more khair than there is shar. And that's why the first night, come Sunday night, this Sunday, inshallah, not today, but next Sunday. Next Sunday night, you'll find people entering masajid all across the world in the hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions of people will enter masajid. Hundreds of millions of people who never enter masajid. Like they just don't come to masajid for the other 11 months of the year. They'll come that first night and second night and third night. And why? Some of them don't even know why. It's just, they do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He calls upon the hearts of His creations, of His servants, and they come to Him. And they're looking for something, and they're looking for this peace, they're looking for that khushu', that presence, that connection that they want with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not cheap. It doesn't come easily. You can't imagine that something that valuable is going to happen with an effort of a day or two. No, you want to be connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's more valuable than that anyways? Like, what is there that's in this world that has even remotely close value to being connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There's nothing. This is the most valuable thing in the world. So if you are blessed with that, like if you're given that bounty where you feel that you have that presence with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you are amongst the very few people who have that. So these are riches that are unparalleled in this world. But it doesn't come cheap. It doesn't come cheap. You have to commit yourself. You have to actually commit yourself, and you have to be consistent. You have to show up. And maybe the first year you don't get it the way you want, or the second year, the third year, but it will happen. And you will find it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you. You just show Him that this is meaningful to you. And show Him that you actually want it. We talked about habits, prayers. So the last one is becoming more involved with the community. Look, last thing, least important thing, being more involved with the community. Whenever I do surveys and rankings, I'm always interested in the last thing, not the first. I can predict the first 2 or 3, no problem. I want to know what the least important thing to people is. Because honestly, my job is to raise awareness about stuff that people don't think are important. Yeah, being involved in your community, not important. What else is there that's important? How else do you think you're going to survive? How do you exist in this world? You exist on your own in a silo? You're just one person, you're just floating around in a... No, you exist in a community. You're only as strong as your community is. You're only as capable as your community is. There's no exception to this rule. The strength you have as an individual from an Islamic perspective is correlated directly with the strength of your community. If your community is weak, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, if you go play a soccer game, football, or you play basketball, if you're a great player, but everyone around you can't play, you're going to win. You're not going to win. And this is a team game. This is a team effort. It's not individual effort. You can be the best player in the world. If you're surrounded by teammates who are unengaged, not doing well, you're going to lose. So if you're actually a team player, your interest becomes not becoming just the best player yourself, but engaging the people around you as much as possible and getting them to their A game and allowing them to reach their potential. Because what's the goal here? You shine, you lose. You lose the game, but you score a couple of goals. You're the only one who scored on your team, but you lose the game. But is that what you want? You're still lost. Yeah, you have it, but you're still lost. Or is the goal to win? If the goal is to win, then you have to get everyone around you to do the same. Or go play a singular sport, a solo sport. Islam is not that. Islam is not a solo effort. Never has been. Never will be. That's why Jama'ah is central. It's central. You want to pray better? Come to Jama'ah. It makes no sense up front. When I think about this and you zoom out a little bit of Islam, it makes no sense. You want to pray and connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better? Yeah, come to a group. Why? This is between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why would I come to a group if I want to improve my connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It's just me and Allah. Why would I come to a group and do it in congregation. That's how you're going to strengthen because this is a team effort. It's a group effort. So forgive me if this kind of does not make me too happy. You should care more about being involved in your community. And maybe we're not doing a great job in welcoming people, but maybe that's what Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala, will change. I think there's one more. Yes, so percentages. In terms of importance of stuff to do. So I chose these, so you don't get to choose them, you just choose how important they are. So Fajr in congregation, Taraweeh with a khatma, attend a knowledge circle, read Quran daily, complete a certain amount of daily invocations, wird, meaning tasbih and istighfar and salah ala nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, and focus on fasting properly. Rank them in terms of what you think they are, their importance to you, significance. If you're going to choose something to focus on, what would you focus on the most? What's the least important? What's the most important to you in terms of your focus? Sorry if this is what you're looking for, but I was hoping to maybe engage people a little bit more within this session. All right. So we have a nice theme of interest in the Quran. If you go back to the slides before, there's interest in connecting with the Quran and being more connected to the Quran. I love it. That makes me beyond happy. I don't think that there's anything more beautiful than embracing and finding your heart in the Quran. Like finding your heart in the Quran. The Imam al-Ghazali used to say, قال ابحث عن قلبك في القرآن فإن لم تجده فابكي على نفسك فإنه لا قلب لك. He said, look for your heart in the Quran. Like if you're trying to find your emotional connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look for it in the Quran. And if you don't find it in the Quran, then cry anyways, because you have no heart. Cry for yourself that you have no heart inside of you. And that was his way of looking at it. Allahu a'lam, rahmatullah alayh. But the concept is in the Quran. It's the Quran, it's the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will be meaningful to you if you give it the chance to do for you what it did for the Prophet alayhi salatu, what it did for the Sahaba, what it did for all the scholars who came later. It's the Quran. They always go back to that word. They go back to the surah, the teachings of this book. And we have no way. The Quran saved us once or twice or three times, and it'll save us again. And if we are in a position where we feel lost and we feel that we can't find our way, then we go back to the source that has always saved us. And we go back to that book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again. And we will find within it our salvation. We'll find within it our way back to glory, and our way back to stability and to dignity, which is what we're missing today. We're missing these basic concepts. So read the Quran daily at 28%. Focus on fasting properly. Yes, of course, there's a typo there. Forgive my bad spelling. There's an E missing. In Fajr and congregation, and Taraweeh with the khitmah. Yes, and attending a knowledge circle and complete a certain amount of daily invocations. Yeah, they're all important. I can't judge what's highest and what's lowest, but they're all important. They're all very important. Focus on fasting properly, because the bulk of ajr in Ramadan is based on how you fast. The bulk of ajr in Ramadan, the biggest ajr is how you fast and how you actually carry yourself throughout fasting. And in terms of what you're going to be doing of service and of studies, everything you do in Ramadan is ajr, as long as it's not haram. When you go to study, when you're fasting, you get ajr. When you work and you're fasting, you get ajr. When you serve your community or volunteer, you get ajr. When you're fasting, everything you do that is not a sin, you get ajr for it, because it's an extremely important thing. Yeah, you're doing it when you're hungry and you're tired, so you just got a lot of ajr for doing it. Fajr and congregation. I push this a lot. That's our merchandise is based on it. Fajr is better than Taraweeh. Fajr is the most important salah of the day, and in Ramadan it's especially more important because it marks the moment you start fasting. So try to get it in congregation as much as possible. You're already awake. You wake up for suhoor. You had something in your stomach. You're kind of awake now. It's hard to go back to, maybe, I don't want to say hard because some people will say, no, ain't hard at all, but that's fine. You're awake. Go and pray Fajr. And then you don't have to attend the lessons afterwards, but go home and pray Fajr and then go back. Use that early morning moment for reading Quran daily, right? Like Fajr in congregation helps you get all the other stuff. Like you want to read Quran daily, that's the best time. When else are you going to do it? You have that between Fajr and school or work. That's where the time we want to read Quran. The rest of the day is a marathon. You're just running through. If you're going to try and read Quran every day before Maghrib, you're not going to do it. You won't do it because before Maghrib you're too tired. You're not focused. You have a headache. It's okay to sit there and maybe just sabbih a little bit, or just lie down and take a rest until Maghrib. But do it after Fajr. Taraweeh with a khatmah, always, especially if you're young, especially the younger people here. Attend Taraweeh with a khatmah. There are Taraweeh in the city that don't have a khatmah. That's for our elderly brothers and sisters, the people who, not you. You should attend the Taraweeh where the whole Quran is being recited at least once. The Prophet ﷺ would recite the whole Quran during Ramadan within his prayers 8-10 times. 8-10 times. He would pray for 5-6 hours every night, alayhi salatu wasalam. Taraweeh became a sunnah because he stopped because he didn't want it to become fard alayna, so he stopped a few nights. Coming out, he would still do it at home. But he would recite the Quran in abundance. We only do a juz' a night. You get the Quran done once throughout the month with the khatmah the 29th night. I dream, inshallah, of a masjid where we have 2 khatmas running. One for the lazy people, where only 1 khatmah is going to happen in Ramadan. And the other one where it's recited twice throughout Ramadan. Where there's a khatmah on the 15th and a khatmah on the 29th for the actual, people who want to push themselves. And I grew up in a masjid in Syria. That's what they used to do. It'd be two levels. Lazy people downstairs, and upstairs those. And it used to fill up, wallah. 2 juz' a night, people used to fill up. SubhanAllah, I believe in the fact that if you raise the standard a little bit yourself and you aim for excellence and you work hard, people will respond to that and they'll come. And people will hold themselves to a higher standard. I think if we accept mediocrity from ourselves, it'll be accepted from everyone around us, and slowly we'll just kind of keep on lowering the standard. I think we just have to push ourselves a little bit more. And there's a lot of beauty in doing that. There's a lot of beauty. There's a lot of khair that comes from that. And yeah, I don't know how far, but it's a very specific, it's very delicate. I can't push too quickly. Push too quickly, Sharat Muawiyah, it breaks the hair, and then no one comes anymore altogether. Oh, excellent. Jazakumullah khair. This is very, very nice. So I want to point out a few things for you. Thank you for participating. Inshallah, this was helpful for you. I want to point out a few things for you. So these are some points regarding making this Ramadan, inshallah, your best Ramadan ever. Number one, it's an opportunity for repentance. Use it as an opportunity for you to perform proper tawbah, turning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way that is required. And tawbah not just from a specific sin, but tawbah from a way of life. That's what I'm more interested in. You can do tawbah from a specific sin, but Ramadan offers you the ability to perform tawbah from a way of life, from an attitude, a perspective, a worldview, and a general way of doing things. And I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to do tawbah from all of that. That wasn't wrong. That wasn't right. Everything I was doing, there was all these problems. I want to do tawbah from that. I want to live better. I want to be better. And that's what I want. That's a good intention to have at the beginning of Ramadan, of just performing repentance from all that came before. Yes, specify the sins that you're very worried about, the bad habits, but take a bigger step. Take an umbrella approach. That Ramadan is going to yank out my routine and give me something different. I want to choose that first moment as a tawbah from all that was before. And I turn a new leaf in with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and just be a different person. I think you get that opportunity only in Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's changes happen. Abwab al-Jannah open. Abwab al-Nar closes. The shayateen are gone. There's this mad in jazr, the tide. Baghi al-khayr aqbil. Baghi al-shar aqbil. The tide changes. The people who want khayr, it's like you're pushed along to do khayr. And those who don't want to do khayr, they're pushed back a bit. It makes it a bit more difficult. Good deeds are made easier in Ramadan, and bad deeds made more difficult for you to actually do. So use those changes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and benefit from it. Jannah is calling upon those who want it. Jannah is who wants it? You want Jannah? Then work hard for it. You think you're going to be given it cheaply? No. ألا إن سلعة الله غالية. ألا إن سلعة الله الجنة. السلعة is the commodity, or the trading piece. The produce. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is sil'a, what He has is the bargaining piece is Jannah. This is what you're trying to buy. It's what you're trying to get. It's very, very expensive. And His bargaining piece is Jannah. It's not going to come, it does not come cheaply. You have to put that effort in. Making yourself waqf lillah. I love this piece. This is what you do. You know how, open one of those musahif, you find like a stamp, it says waqf lillahi ta'ala. Waqf is something that is an endowment, something that's only you're going to be used for the sake of Allah. Can't be sold, can't be bought. It's not a part of the market. It's nothing. There's nothing in it that has any value in terms of it is dedicated for the service of Allah and His creation. That's what you say waqf. So stamp yourself in Ramadan. Waqf. Just make yourself waqf. I am, for this month, for these 3 days, I am for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you do that, you will find the beauty of it. And then you will keep that stamp on you for the rest of your life. And you will work for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will work for Allah. Like what were the Anbiya? What were the prophets? Aside from people who dedicated their entire lives for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do that. Dedicate your life. You will not regret it. You won't regret it. I guarantee you won't regret it. It will be the best decision of your entire life. Inna Allah ishtara min al-mu'minina anfusahum wa amwalahum bi'anna lahum al-jannah. Indeed, Allah has bought. He has bought. The transaction just requires your involvement. He's already bought. He bought your life and your wealth, like you, everything that defines you. And Jannah, He'll give you Jannah. Here, I bought. I'm taking your life and your wealth. Here's Jannah for it. You just have to sign on. Just sign on and dedicate yourself. Make yourself waqf. Try it. The beauty of making yourself waqf. A part of that is volunteering. I want to point this out just in case you don't know, because I actually had this conversation with a few people. I found out they didn't know, and they were surprised. I'm like, all right, good. This is a good point for me to explain to you. Let's say your intention is I'm going to pray the full Taraweeh every single night, and you do, and that's what you're doing. And then one night you're required, for example, there's a mess, and someone's like, can you help us with parking or help us with something outside? So like, all right, you go do it. When you do that, you get 2 ajr. You get the ajr as if you're praying Taraweeh fully. You get the full ajr, including the ajr that you get of service of people. If you're doing something outside, like you're putting up tables, you're standing at the door, you're helping with whatever you're doing, if you're doing that in your mind, that very clearly that if I wasn't doing this, I would be standing right behind the Imam quoting the Quran, then you are banking both ajr. You're getting both. If your intention would be no, if I wasn't doing this, I would be at home watching Netflix. Then no, you don't. You just get the ajr of volunteering. You got the ajr of volunteering, but you don't get the ajr of salah. If you want both ajr. So a lot of people I talk to, and they're not sure about volunteering. No. You don't understand. If you're given the opportunity to volunteer, and your intention is I want to be there for every act of worship, you bank both. Now, that being said, you should make sure that you're volunteering or you're helping any center should be properly scheduled. So you get to pray too. So you get to pray every couple of, you're not spending all 30 nights standing outside in the parking lot. No, you have the right to be a part of this. But if you're in your heart, you're very clear. I would be right up front. That's where I would have been. Then you get the ajr of both. That the Prophet ﷺ taught us these things. He would go on a battle and he would say, Fulan, yajri ajruhu ma'ana wa huwa fi baytih. Talk about someone who was ill. Like they get the full ajr as they lie in their bed. Because if they weren't ill, they would be with us here today. So they get the full ajr as if they're here with us. And this goes for everything you do within your life. You got the ajr running that of your habit. What's your habit? You would be praying, then you get all of that, even if you're not necessarily there. So just something to think about when you make yourself waqf. Waqf, not just for yourself in terms of your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, also in terms of service. You can make yourself waqf for the sake of Allah. It's very beautiful. Yeah, I don't have that peace in my life much anymore. I have to be sitting up here and running my mouth the whole time. But it's nice to do something for others and actually serve them. And there's barakah in that. Learn the beauty of giving. Learn the beauty of serving someone else, of making their life a little bit easier. Wallahi, if you don't understand this and don't learn it, then there's always going to be this discrepancy and this distance you have between you and the deen, between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You find joy in serving other people and doing something nice for them and making their lives easier. Wallahi, the joy in life is not in taking something. Joy is in giving. If you, for example, in your life, if you still find that receiving a gift is more joyful to you than giving one, then you haven't learned Islam yet. You have not perfected this craft. This art is not clear to you. The joy is in giving and watching someone benefit from something that you offered them, not in receiving it. That's the beauty. That's the joy. That's what's fulfilling, is knowing that you had something, you offered it to someone else, and they benefited from it. And Ya Rabb, inshallah, this ajr will run for me in my life. It's so meaningful. Wallahi, it's so meaningful. And it's a consumerism-based timing and place and country, and everyone is it's all about consuming and taking. Yeah, I mean, get out of this little thing. Ramadan slows it all down. Get out. Fattar al-sa'im. Find joy in offering someone something to eat and watching them eat it, and watching that food going into their stomach and then feel hungry. You know what Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said once? I love this narration. He was with the Prophet alayhi sallam during the hijrah. They were out on the way back to Medina, from Mecca to Medina. And obviously, you know the story. It was difficult. They had to go to Ghar Thawr, and for 3 nights they almost got caught. And then they lost. Like it didn't go perfectly. So it took longer than expected, and they didn't end up having as much as they wanted to have with them in terms of food and provision. And they got a bit hungry and a bit thirsty as well. A little bit thirsty. So they came. It was they're looking at each other. In the desert can be fatal. Thirst in the desert can end your life. So they ran in, and they finally, on their way there, they ran into a Bedouin tent. And they went to the person and they asked for something to drink, and the person offered them something to drink. يقول أبو بكر قال فشرب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. This is his wording. قال فشرب رسول الله حتى ارتويت أو حتى رضيت. The Prophet ﷺ drank until I was full. So the Prophet ﷺ drank until I felt full, because he'd rather it in his stomach than his own. Radiallahu anhu. You understand that love? That love where I'm seeing it going into him. I'm full. Khalas, it's in his heart. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ajma'in. But that's the concept. That's why on the Day of Judgment, within Jannah, there's a door. It's not outside of Jannah, is what Ibn Hajar and Al-Haythami will talk about. You can understand it the other way as well, but it's his understanding, and I find it fascinating. Because the hadith is, Inna fil jannati baban. Inna fil jannati baban. Within Jannah, there's a door. Most people understand it as a door outside, but the way it's being said is different. Within Jannah, there's a door called Ar-Rayyan, the satisfied. Ar-Ri or Tawa is when you're putting water somewhere until you're quenching the thirst. That's what Ri is. So Ar-Rayyan is the door where the thirst is quenched. That's what it means. So he said, alayhi sallam, that within Jannah there's a door, لا يدخل منه إلا الصائمون. Only the people who truly fasted properly will enter from this door. And why? Because the name is Rayyan, quenched thirst or satisfaction. حتى ارتويت, until I felt satisfied. And you'll go into, and only the Sa'im will enter into that door, and they'll be fully satisfied. They'll be, anything that was missing in their life will be filled up again. Whatever it was. whatever, whether it was some emotional, something lacking emotionally or financially, or there's always something about us where, we never got enough of it, so it just weighs on us throughout our lives. And that's fine. Everyone has that. It's different in terms of whatever field it's in, right? It just depends on where and what story of life you had. But there's always something missing that you didn't have. Maybe your dad didn't hug you enough when you were a kid, or if you're a boy, or if you have a Middle Eastern dad, for example. Or maybe you always watched your friends having new stuff and you didn't have enough money to buy this stuff. There's always something that just kind of weighs on you. And you'll go through life knowing it's there, not always being able to deal with it, and it always just makes you feel bad. It's a part of you. It just breaks your. And then يوم القيامة الريان. وسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى. You go and then it's all filled up. خلاص, you don't feel that lacking. You don't feel that anything that's missing anymore. You don't feel that you were deprived of anything. It was all there for you. And it's a beautiful concept that I find just nice to bring up. Investing in your salah. Invest in salah. Salah is the most important act of worship that you got. You do it 5 times a day. It really should not be a burden. You shouldn't feel like this is hard to do. This is beautiful to do. This is an opportunity. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offering you five meetings a day. This is an offering. We don't even deserve this. You have to flip the view of this. Salah is not salah. You're held accountable for it, but it's an offering. Here, meet the King of Kings subhanahu wa ta'ala 5 times a day. Speak to Him. Bring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala your sorrow, your agony, your pain. Bring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that which you hope for or want or are afraid of. Speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Invest in doing this right. You get a lot of practice in Ramadan, right? You get a lot of practice. Aside from the 5 prayers a day, you have Taraweeh. What is Taraweeh? It's just practice. Practice makes improvement. Maybe not perfect, but it does really well. If you don't pray well, pray a lot of Taraweeh. Get used to it. Get into that system. Inshallah, you'll hold on to it more. You cannot perfect anything with the first couple of tries. You have to do it a lot. Just do it a lot until you figure out what holds you back, what you struggle with, what aspect of salah is problematic for you or difficult for you. And then you find ways around it, and then you find that beauty in salah. And wallahi, all it takes is one sajda within Ramadan. That is meaningful. Or one rak'ah that you pray, where whatever the imam is saying touches your heart, or one dua that you listen to that just hits in the right spot, and you'll find yourself in a moment of complete bliss that you will wish never ends. And it'll be a moment where the imam is doing takbir and you're upset that they did takbir, and you'll come and tell them, just give it another minute. Give it another minute. I never experienced this. Give me an extra minute. And that's what you look for. And if you get that once in a lifetime, the taste of it will stick with you for the rest of your life, and you'll always pursue it, and you'll find it in your life. And it's beautiful. So look for it. Invest in your salah, because there's nothing more valuable than investing in your salah. I want to share with you a few hadith. They stopped working. Can someone help me? It never works. Huh? Boss. Is it working out? Yeah, good. Okay, it works. All right, I'll share with you a few ahadith. Alayhi salatu wasalam would say, في hadith Muslim, say, كل عمل ابن آدم له الحسنة بعشر أمثالها إلى 700 ضعف يقول الله عز وجل إلا الصيام فإنه لي وأنا أجزي به إنه ترك شهوته وطعامه من أجلي للصائم فرحتان فرحة عند فطره وفرحة عند لقاء ربه ولخلوف فم الصائم أطيب عند الله من ريح المسك. He says عليه الصلاة والسلام, indeed, everything you do has a specific amount. Every good deed has a specific calculable amount that you get for it. Al-Hasana is times by 10, up to 700, maybe more, but is calculated. Allah says, except Siyam, that is mine. That's my territory. No one calculates that. I will personally give you ajr for that one. You'll come and be surprised by that Yawm al-Qiyamah, but there's nothing to attach to it. He says, indeed, إِنَّهُ تَرَكَ شَهْوَتَهُ وَطَعَامَهُ مِنْ أَجْلِي. My servant left his shahwa, his desire, and his food and his drink for me. No, we have to talk about this. You did this. You actually held back from your shahwa and your food and your drink, and your thirst and your hunger for me. We're going to talk about this personally. لِلصَّائِمِ فَرْحَتَانِ. The person who is fasting has 2 moments of happiness. فَرْحَةٌ عِنْدَ فِطْرِهِ. A moment of happiness when they break their fast. You're hungry, you eat, it's nice. It's a farha, you're happy, you broke your fast. وَفَرْحَةٌ, and a moment of happiness عِنْدَ لِقَاءِ رَبِّهِ, when you meet your Lord on the Day of Judgment, when you're granted that meeting with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَخَلُوفُ فَمِ الصَّائِمِ. And the bad breath of someone who is fasting because you can't take a mint or you can't do anything like that is more beautiful in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Allah, than the most beautiful perfume of musk. Yeah. That being said, don't blow into people's faces when you're fasting, because it will, cause some degree of problems. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, any degree of sacrifice that you make for me, it's beautified. Like you're not eating and drinking and it's causing something negative about yourself, it's beautiful in my eyes. You're sacrificing, you're not eating and drinking, so you don't have the ability to. So even that's beautiful to me, because it's evidence of your sacrifice, it's evidence of your commitment. It's a beautiful hadith to hold on to. Says alayhi salatu, I'll narrate a few before we go for Isha, inshallah. Give me one more. The one after. Yes. Perfect. Imam Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah narrates with the Prophet ﷺ قال إذا كان أول ليلة من رمضان صفدت الشياطين ومردت الجن وفتحت أبواب الجنة فلم يغلق منها باب وغلقت أبواب النار فلم يفتح منها باب وينادي مناد يا باغي الخير أقبل ويا باغي الشر أقصر ولله عتقاء من النار وذلك في كل ليلة. He says عليه الصلاة والسلام, the first night of Ramadan, the shayateen are chained up, and they're removed, and all the doors of heaven are open, all the gates of heaven are open, nothing is left closed, and all the gates of Jahannam are closed, and nothing is left open. And someone calls, we don't know the munadi, a caller that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts to call, Ya baghi al-khayri aqbal, the one who wants khayr, come close. Ya baghi al-sharri aqsir, the one who wants evil, stay back. وَلِلَّهِ عُتَقَاء مِنَ النَّارِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants people freedom of punishment. The chains around the neck connected to Jahannam are broken. And that happens every single night within the month of Ramadan. One more, perfect. And he says, alayhi salatu wasalam, hadith narrated by Imam Hakim, Imam al-Bayhaqi as well, with hadith Hasan, قال الصيام جنة. Siyam is a protection for you. Use it as a protection for you from haram and from things that are frowned upon within this world. فإذا كان أحدكم صائما فلا يرفث ويرفث ولا يجهل. If you're fasting, then don't do rafath. Don't gossip and talk about things that are haram, or don't fall into a sexual relationship with your spouse or others. ولا يجهل. And don't get into a dispute or a fight with someone and raise your voice and have them raise their voice to you. وإن امرؤ سابه أو شتمه فليقل إني صائم. And if someone says something to you that is disrespectful or harms you, say, indeed, I am someone who is fasting. I don't engage in these type of activities. It's not a threat. It's a reminder for yourself that you don't engage. وجاء عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ليس الصيام عن الطعام والشراب وإنما الصيام من اللغو والرفث. Fasting is not just from food and desire. Fasting is from laghu, and from wasting time and doing things that are useless, and rafath, and saying things that are not appropriate. It's siyam. You're fasting with your eyes and your ears and your tongue and your mind. This fasting is very powerful if you use it appropriately. That is what I wanted to share with you, inshallah, today, with the intention of making this upcoming Ramadan the best Ramadan of your life. I will do this every year, so if this becomes a broken record to you, find some other place to hear this. I will continue to push for every Ramadan to be your best, because you never know, it may be your last, and you can always do better than what you did last year for sure. And there's only upwards when it comes to your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I love the word of Musa alayhi salam. I'll end with that, inshallah, for you. I don't think we have enough time for questions, but you're welcome to put one up, and I can always try and address it after salah. What he says, alayhi salatu wasalam, he's asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمَا أَعْجَلَكَ عَنْ قَوْمِكَ يَا مُوسَى. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that there'll be a meeting at this time, at this place. So Musa alayhi salam had Harun kind of take care of Bani Israel, and he kind of moved a bit quicker. Like he galloped with his horse faster than everyone else. And he was making it closer. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him, مَا أَعْجَلَكَ, why did you come quicker than your people? قَالَ هُمْ أُولَاءِ عَلَىٰ أَثَرِي. Said, don't worry, they're coming behind me, so I didn't leave them unattended. They're on their way. وَعَجِلْتُ إِلَيْكَ رَبِّي لِتَرْضَى. And I came to you, Ya Rabb, quickly so I could satisfy you. Because I wanted to. I wanted to come closer. They're all coming. I didn't abandon my people. They're on their way. I just wanted to be closer. I wanted to make it closer to you, Ya Rabb. And I think that's the motto of Ramadan. وَعَجِلْتُ إِلَيْكَ رَبِّي لِتَرْضَى. Come quicker. Push yourself more. Do more than others. And yeah, they're with you, inshallah. Keep people moving with you. But do a little bit more. Show that eagerness in being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, showing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala your love. So end with that, inshallah ta'ala. we'll go for salat, we'll make adhan and then make iqama. No, swearing does not break your fast, but it does take away from your ajr. I'll answer a few questions, inshallah, if you put them up.